keep hearing from a lot of my students, like, I don't feel like I know what to work on, or I don't feel like I know how to get better. I just want to be better, but that involves being able to be a scientist at the same time as a singer, and knowing what you like and what you don't like, instead of just like, why is it bad? That is something that I hear a whole lot. Like, I don't like it. I just don't like how it sounds. I'm like, okay, why? What is it missing? Is the first question I ask. What do you feel like it's missing? What do you feel like you need less of? What do you feel like you need more of? How can we put that into scientific terms? And you don't even have to know like anatomy and stuff. You don't have to know a whole lot of vocal terms to know what do you feel like it's missing, right? You can feel like it's missing accuracy. You can feel like it's missing emotion. You can feel like it's missing personality. You can feel like it's missing brightness. Whatever you feel in that first moment that I ask you that is what we're going for, right? And I'm here to help you work on finding that specific thing in your voice and helping you realize that you probably already have it. It's just a matter of how you are not allowing yourself to find that in your voice. So often we go into singing a new song or a goal song, and we're like, I need to sound exactly like the original artist. And that is your number one problem. Most of the time, that is the answer to what is it missing. It's missing the magic of being Celine Dion, right? Like, of course, you're not going to have that in your raw vocals and in your vocals that are not coming out of Celine Dion's vocal folds, right? So we have to, number one, accept that we are not Celine Dion or Ariana Grande or Adele or all the, fancy professional singers that we look up to, or whoever your person is. That is important, because then we can kind of take all the weight off, right? Imagine that you were about to perform for the first time and you were about to go on stage and the announcer announces Celine Dion. Like, there's no way you would not be crushed by the weight of that, right? Trying to need to be Celine Dion in that moment. Like, so why are you expecting yourself to be that when you're just learning a new song? When you're writing a song, when you are figuring out how this song fits into your voice, right? So number one, let go of all of those expectations to sound exactly like a professional singer, because we are not that yet, and that is fine and lovely and beautiful. Yes, like, I am on the cusp of being a professional singer, like literally getting paid for it, but I have learned that I will literally die if I put all that weight on myself to sound exactly like all of these professional, amazing people who've been doing it their entire dang lives, right? So I think it's important to take a look at where your expectations are and just take that heavy weight off of you. The second thing is, and I've talked about this with some of you before, like, listening to your raw vocals is never gonna hit the same way as listening to a polished, produced, mastered song with reverb, with EQ, with compression, with smoothing plugins. It's never going to happen. So what you're expecting is literally impossible. So we have to learn how to listen to our own raw vocals in order to know that what I feel is missing is just the polish of the digital recording process. So that is a very important thing to keep in mind. Unless you are only listening to somebody who you are trying to emulate in person live, right? Like, without even a microphone, because even a microphone and speakers changes how their voice hits your ears. And just the polish that you feel is there. But when you're hearing your own raw voice, there is something that you can't put back that is missing. It's impossible for you to do that because you don't have compressors and EQs and all that stuff, unless you are working in a DAW and recording yourself. And even then, I'm doing that all the time, and I cannot physically recreate the polish of a Celine Dion song. Even if I do my best to imitate her, to get the power, to get the presence, to get the tone exact, it's never going to sound exactly like her, even if I do have all the digital polish on there, because I am not her. I do not have her same instrument. Thank God, because there's only one of her in the world, right? She's amazing. And keep in mind that your voice has its own beauty as well. It's just that you have not heard it on the radio. And so you don't see that yet. Like I'm talking like beyond pitch issues, beyond learning how to find the tone that you're looking for, which most of you are doing just fine with, by the way. Like we may be trying to get you out of your one box of comfort zone. With some of you, we're working on getting more into your head voice because your usual default is chest voice. Some of you are working on getting a mixier sound, a beltier head voice combination of the two, and that is your out of your comfort zone. So yes, we are working on these things all the time. We're working on becoming more comfortable in these out of your comfort zone areas in your voice. And while that is happening, we can also be doing the practice work of getting more used to and more in love with our own voice as they are. Because I was talking about this with somebody today, like the reason why we hate how we sound on an answering machine that doesn't exist anymore, our outgoing voicemail message, the reason why we hate that is because we're hearing our voice through an outside recording software that is not in our heads. And we've been only hearing our voice inside of our head, with hearing your bones resonate, with hearing the acoustics that is your mouth to your ear, which is bouncing off of stuff and then back to your ear. It's that combination of hearing the vibrations in your head and hearing the reverberations from the walls and wherever you are. That is the only way you are used to hearing your voice. So when you start to sing into a mic for the first time, or hear yourself on a voice memo, or even your voicemail, it is a whole different acoustic setup. And so your brain is like, whoa, 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 whoa. I didn't know I sounded like that. I don't like it, right? That's your brain's immediate answer to, this is different. I have no evidence to support that this is good. So it is bad. Good, unfamiliar equals bad, right? Like any of us do all the time. This is why prejudice exists, right? So you're actually being prejudiced to your own voice because you have never experienced it in this way before. So I really want you to keep in mind all of these things. And the best way you can get more used to this is practice recording yourself more often, which is why in my lessons, usually the first couple lessons, I'll give you the assignment to go record yourself. If you're in Vocal Magic, you got to post it in the group. If you're in any of my programs, this group exists so you can practice this exact thing. So you get used to recording yourself and hearing yourself outside of your head, number one. Accepting that you have a different sound than you're used to. Accepting that you are not a professional singer in this moment. You have imperfections, as do they, honestly, but we don't see those. And we have a different mechanism, literally. So we have different tones. Like my voice is a unique voice to your voice, right? Your voice does not sound like mine. We may be able to hit the same ranges, but my tone is different. Our voices are like fingerprints. There's a reason why voice recognition software exists. Like our voices are unique for a reason. So why are you trying to chase the same tone as this professional singer when your voice has a beauty to it that you just haven't gotten used to yet? You just haven't seen it because your brain is still stuck in, I don't like this because it's different than what I've heard in my head my whole life mode. You know? I'm pretty sure that's all I have to say today. Yes, keep working on your technique. Keep working on the feeling being more free and finding the moments where you're overdoing, if that's you, finding the moments where you're underdoing. Maybe it's a lack of breath that you're underdoing. You probably know this about yourself. If you've ever worked with me, we've talked about this probably. Are you a fighter or a flighter? This is your default, right? And we're working on that constantly. We're working on training our nervous system to be more okay with this perceived threat of performing in front of people or recording in front of a red button. And at the same time, we are becoming more and more okay and more safe in these spaces with hearing our voice recorded back, with having other people hear your imperfections. And the only way to get to the other side of this fear is not to just focus on the technique forever and ever and ever. Like, you can do that, but then you're just in a vacuum and nobody ever hears your growth, because I guarantee you're growing if you're working on it. But on the other side of this wall that you've built up in your mind of like, I can't ever let anybody hear this imperfection, it's not good enough yet, I'm not ready yet. On the other side of that is the freedom and the trust and the building up of evidence that you can do it, that is going to get you to the place that you want to go, to your dream with singing. Highly recommend taking a look at what you believe about your voice, what you believe is true versus what you believe is missing. Take these as what they are, just beliefs, right? Your ears are not always going to give the same information to other people's ears, right? Because you have a way and a framework of looking at your voice that you have had your whole life. You have many different judgments about your voice and what it should and shouldn't be. You have many different judgments about other people's voice and what they should and shouldn't be. You have many different experiences of people telling you things about your voice and your ability to sing or make music and what you should or should not be doing. Those all play into what information gets turned into, right? Your ears hear a thing that is inherently objective, and then your brain, based on all of these experiences and beliefs, turns it into good, bad, messy, ugly, gross, I hate it, blah. You know, does that sound familiar? So keep in mind, other people's ears are not making those same connections in their brains. What you think is not always true. And the best evidence of that is the fact that something can be scary to someone that is not scary to someone else, right? Like, I can press the red button, no problem now, because I've been doing it for a couple of years every week now. More than every week. I've been recording myself for many years now. And it was scary at first. It felt gross. It felt horrible. I hated every moment of it at first. Just goes to show the same thing's not always true to everybody else. And you can train how your brain files things for you. Different does not always have to mean gross or bad. What is your voice missing? Let's look at it from an objective perspective. Do we need more brightness? Great, we got tools for that. Do we need more pitch accuracy? Great, we got tools for that. But if it is something that is just because of your belief about your voice, because you don't know what is missing, you're just like, I don't like it. Let's take a look at all these beliefs that you have. Number one, just accept that you are not a professional singer yet. You are not on the radio. You're not hearing your voice on the radio, and you're not also hearing your voice, number two, in a perfected, smoothed out, digitally polished recording session. So those are two huge things. And then the third is allow your voice to be different. It is beauty. It has its own innate beauty, and we have to get ourselves out of fixing mode in order to find that, both before and after you sing. Sometimes we're so in fixing mode that even while we're singing, we're trying to fix, and guess how that feels? Really tight. And guess what sound that creates? Strain, pitch issues, lack of tone that you want. That's what's causing the thing that you don't want to happen, is your fear of that happening. And I say this all the time, but it's just your biology. You can train your biology to stand down over time so that you stop squeezing off your notes before they even come out because you're afraid of what they're going to be. Maybe your voice is not missing anything. Maybe you're just not allowing it to be fully what it is. I love you very much. Thank you for being here. That's all I got to say today. Appreciate you listening. Let me know. Send me a message or an email if this resonated with you. And let me know what you're going to be focusing on in this next week. Are you going to be pushing the red button soon? Are you going to be recording yourself? Is that the training that you need? Don't wait until the assignment is due. Do it beforehand. Record yourself right now, a couple times a day, until you have to record the actual thing, because then your nervous system will be like, oh, this whole thing? No problem. Practice it. Practice what you want to be. Okay, love you. Have a great day.